Recording. When we start the recording, as I mention every time with everyone, this becomes telepathic. It begins to initiate the process of you putting your body in the trance state we call sleep, which you know how to do perfectly well because you do it every night anyway. Perry does, I do, everybody on earth does, no matter how awake or ignorant they are. Whether they're a terrorist or some knucklehead in some country that wants to blow themselves up, they still know how to put their body to sleep at night. It's a very complex process. But people on earth don't remember any of this. They just know how to kind of do it, but not consciously. And it shouldn't be like that. So these journeys, when we start this off, begin to put my body in the trance state called sleep. The difference is, because of my voice and because we're talking telepathically, which cannot be interfered with in any negative way, it's a pure form of energy, the HU, between us and out in space, and no negative nature can go into it. So this begins to take place where you stay aware and conscious of putting your body in the trance state we call sleep. So you can get out of it, which is easy. We do it, it's as easy as daydreaming. Because everybody knows how to daydream on earth. And some people might be thinking negative, destructive things, imagining destroying things, and that's their daydream, and that's sad, but because eventually it comes back to them. It's the way the physical universe energy works. So when we imagine wanting good for all life, and we expand our awareness, or wake it up to be aware of all life beyond Earth, out in the multiverse, out in the other dimensions, all the way beyond the void, where you're going tonight, then things can change. Because you're going up and co-creating in a plane where there's no negative nature, and you're bringing it back down to the life you have on Earth. That's what those 4 books are for. They're doorways. They look like a book, they smell like a book. You open them up and they read like a book, but they're doorways. So the images on the books were designed with real actors in costume. They were designed in original art, hiring a very top artist that designs book covers for publishers. And we've had a good association, so these books came from that as far as the covers are concerned. When we finally get this Thai book underway, I hope we will, then the Sayre's Agenda will be the same book and cover, but it'll be in Thai. And our wish is that that will be a great boon to Thai people and a great boost to people who are already on this journey. I'm for Perry too, because she'll be able to not only read it in English, but in her native language, which will be fun. So we're on this journey. The first thing we do is imagine someone we respect and love, someone that we're grateful they're in our life, person, place, or thing. But whatever it is, make sure that it's something that makes you smile inside when you daydream it, when you imagine it. And understand, when you imagine whatever that is, you're actually seeing it somewhere. It does not come from your brain. It's not stored in your brain. It cannot be produced by your brain. First thing I try to get across to people is that imagination, their ability to visualize, does not take place in their human brain at all. It's a big shocker for people because they've been so brainwashed to believe that the brain has some kind of an ability to have a motion picture camera project an image on a screen somewhere in the brain cells. This is not true. Nope. Unaware to most people on this planet, when they imagine something like going to the store, they're actually seeing it or being at that store without really being aware of it. And the body must follow where the Atma imagines, because the HU, the omnipresent power we're made of and that we live in, is the actual thing that manifests your body going to the store. See, we don't have the power for that. The omnipresent energy we're part of, and the same thing as does that for us. So when we start learn how to respect that energy that's out in space that people call divine spirit, when we learn how to understand it and work with it properly, because it isn't molecules and atoms or matter, energy, space, and time. It's that energy that supports all that in an unbiased way. The only difference now moving through that one power, that one living force, is what we call the HU expansion ray. It was not in existence even in the upper worlds 9-10 years ago, and was created up there in order to bring about a change in the lower worlds of time and space that was not possible before. So that's what we're part of. You imagine someone you love and respect, you're grateful they're in your life, and when you do, it makes you smile inside. And then you realize you're actually up near the ceiling looking down on your body. I'm up above the roof out in the night sky looking through the house down on my body, and then looking at Perry and you across the world. And I can see you as if you're sitting across from me up on the roof in a triangle. It's kind of interesting, but only because I can imagine it. Which means then as a being, as an Atma that's not made of molecules, doesn't feel cold, doesn't feel radiation, then I can enjoy the experience of being. So we begin on Earth, and then we go further, much, much further. But that's because we are capable of doing this as an Atma. Always have been. People on Earth have just been terrified to forget it. So we're undoing that process. You're going on a journey far beyond just being out in space. You've had secondary implants removed. You don't need to do that again. Once is all you need. Coming up into the primary implant and that whole experience is part of what is you're being, how do I put it, guided to get to that point better. And that's your experience, especially when you're out of your body at night, every night. So when we meet with certain beings out in space, outside of Earth's negative atmosphere, so we're not influenced by it, then we can meet with beings and be free to know things again without the influence of any negative nature. And then we take it further. We can go to other planets, and we will. We can go out into other dimensions, and we will. And we can go all the way beyond the lower planes where positive and negative, good and bad are, when we will. And we can go into the void, and we can go up to Satnam's realm and the other side of that void, and then go up into the HU Expansion Ray Academy, or further if we choose to. Remember that you are, as an Atma, co-creating your experience with beings who can provide an awakening awareness of being out in the multiverse in new ways than you've ever experienced before in billions of years of lives. And then we take it a step further. We go above the void. We go back home because we're meant to do that. In this process, you are being a co-creator with Source, Prime Creator. It's never in the future. It's now. And it goes deeper into the now, and wider into the now, and more conscious into the now. The now is, of course, the omnipresent, meaning everywhere, living power that is behind and supporting everything on every level. When you're near the ceiling looking at your body, that's just daydreaming. When you're at 10,000 meters in the atmosphere and Shantiel and Tonaltiel are standing beside you, that's also daydreaming. But daydreaming is not fantasy. I would say that fantasy is whatever you imagine that's just selfish, just for yourself. The HU can manifest that too, but you can be trapped by it. What is not fantasy when you imagine is that which benefits all life. That's the difference. Because then the omnipresent power begins to co-create with you. It becomes your guide. It becomes your guide in the first time in a new way that it never was before. And the purpose for that is to become a conscious co-creator with it on all the planes, particularly in the higher worlds. Because there, collectively, co-creatively, we can make new ways of doing things together to change the way the lower planes of time and space and planet Earth are run. It's up to us. Because all of us created this mess down here, one way or another, and we're responsible to correct it. When you want absolute freedom, understand that absolute responsibility goes with that. They are married, they are intertwined. The omnipresent HU is a master teacher through the beings that are masterful within it. Of itself, it is not an individual. There's no personable individual being called God way up there in the higher worlds or supreme being. There is a source that you can merge into, you can talk with, that can speak with you, but it's like a focused point of all Atmas everywhere in one place that's pure and cannot be altered because it's in the upper worlds. There's no negative nature. So when we go back there, the obvious outcome is we become what is called self and God realized. What does this mean? This mysterious self and God realization gurus have been teaching on earth, and the earth has not been changing. It means awareness of what you are as the Atma, how it's structured, what it looks like, all those different teardrop faculties, getting them awake again. God realization means you understand your co-creative nature with Source or Prime Creator. In other words, you're a co-creator with it. Your responsibility is to come back to the higher realities, share what you've learned in the lower worlds to help change things. Because the source behind all life does not yet know how to fix everything that has not yet happened. It's up to us returning from all over the multiverse back to that source to co-create with it to change that, because we're part of it. When you know this, you're knowing a great secret to existence. I wish that gurus on earth were teaching this, but they're not. They're not even teaching about the HU. Most of them, they're not teaching about going beyond the void. And that keeps people kind of stuck. It isn't because beings and teachers and gurus mean bad. It just means because of their own subconscious stuff, they're still not aware of what they should know to go above that void. We're supposed to be returning. So that's what we're going to do. Chantiel and Tonaltiel appear like 6-foot-tall humans, male and female, but flawless, perfect, strong, physical, trim, beautiful, handsome, gorgeous, long hair to their shoulders, Galactic Alliance uniform on, but they're master teachers too. Don't make the mistake of thinking they're just aliens. They're human, but more advanced genetically than we are on Earth. Physically, as an Atma, they're identical with us. Remember what I just said. As an Atma, we are identical with them. The bodies are another issue. They're separate from who we are. If you grow up on Nerexilum and have a 4-stranded DNA body and have the equivalent intelligence of 10 PhDs by the time you're 10, as many world systems and their races have, it's not like Earth at all. It's not even, you can't even compare it. People walk around with their kids and do all that stuff, but their awareness is completely different. Chantiel and Tonalty also get greater experience from doing which is simple for them, effortless. Removing secondary implants from beings that have been trapped in unconscious amnesia on Earth, that's easy for them. Going into the primary implant removal takes place with beings like them and other technicians, not on Earth, and you have to be invited, you have to be guided there, you have to be ready, and then you sit down in a chair and go through an experience of something that really killed you. It was terrible, but you're safe. You're not in a body that can be harmed. And then it becomes this terrorizing thing, becomes a memory, and the other faculties of awareness that were suppressed because of it turn back on. That is what is revealed in the Say Rays Agenda book. It's titled Say Rays because it's in respect to Ambassador Turelian of the Say Rays race. The agenda is not my agenda. I co-created part of it, don't get me wrong. But the agenda belongs to the source behind all life. Say Satnam if you want to put it on someone you can see like a physical being, even though he's not. Okay. When you look at Chantiel and Tonaltiel, the Atmas they are looks just like what's on the front cover of the Emerald Doorway book, only I call that the ancient one, because that's a representation that's 15 feet across and is much bigger than the same thing that's hovering above Kalim, Melina, and Etta right there, and Ramu, that they don't see. It's not depicted on the cover. They're being introduced to this ancient one that has come all the way down through the lower planes from above just to be introduced to these beings who were in training back then. Training to one day become masters. So it's on the front cover of the book. And that scene happened over 100,000 years ago in the atmosphere of Earth when the poles flipped and everything else on Earth was killed or destroyed. They were being shown where all those Atmas were taken. Their bodies were gone, but they were not dead. So it's very unique. So up here in space, where you find yourself, looking around, you realize now you're up in a circle of beings around Ambassador Turelian. I'm to your right, Perry's to your left, and in between us and you is Chantiel and Tonaltiel. Chantiel is a little bit right beside you to the left, and Tonaltiel is right beside you to the right, and then I'm a little further over. Master Ramu's a little further away in a circle between Earth and Turelian. Master Opelum is a little further away from Earth out in space in that circle. There are beings on the other side of that circle I usually never mention because sometimes you see them anyway, male and female. And they are from, a couple are from Earth like Ramu. Opelum's from Oceania, he's not from Earth. Etta and Din are not from Earth, they're from Oceania, and they're hovering above Master. I call him Master that way. I usually just refer to him as Turelian because he doesn't like to be called Master. Beings that really are don't prefer it. I would call Master Ramu and Master Opelum masters, teachers, because they are. Amongst their own orders, they're considered this way. But they don't prefer to be called that. They just prefer to be respected. Same way you would want to be. And so it's a mutual admiration society, you might say. When we learn how to respect and wake up all the life we've been made to forget, terrorized to forget, that's out in the universe, we're being prepared to meet with them again. Long lost friends, long lost family members, brothers and sisters from billions of years, from many levels, many dimensions, that we once knew very well. These beings who we consider master teachers understand how much you were made to forget because they have not forgotten. And because of that, they're motivated by different things than people on Earth are. Money doesn't motivate them at all. not on any of the worlds I've ever been to. So that's different. And out here in space, in the omnipresent hue, truth cannot be kept from you. It cannot elude you. You know it because you're in it. You're in the hue out here in space. That energy out in space that appears black isn't. Scientists on Earth today know it's not a void of nothing. Dark matter isn't dark. They just can't see it with physical eyes. It's a white golden light everywhere, and it supports all those galaxies. That black area, which is white golden light, is infinitely bigger than all the little galaxies that float in it. And that's just in the physical universe. There are galaxies made of astral matter in the astral universe up from there, and up into the causal and the mental and the etheric before you even reach the void. And out here, you begin to remember you're running a physical body form made of molecules operating at different higher time rate frequencies in the astral, causal, mental, and etheric. As one Atma, you're doing this. Fear is the only thing at one level or another, or reluctance even, in the way of anybody remembering all this. It can be something quite beyond being implanted or tortured to just journeys for billions of years where gradually you forget this or forget that or blow up a planet or do something dumb by accident. And pretty soon you don't even have access to your own higher faculties or even remember where you came from. That takes a long time. So these journeys are these journeys beyond Earth, beyond secondary implant removal, therefore waking up all of that. We go into the Savior's agenda doorway to wake up what's happening that's new out in space right now that's affecting this planet. We go into the parallel time trilogy to wake up what we've forgotten that took place in our own ancient history. Not only in the solar system, but in the multidimensional creation itself. We come from above the void. All of us do. Because we're not bodies, nor have we ever been a physical body. No matter what you think about it, you're not one. Not now, not ever. They're a kind of advanced machine. Bodies you see on Earth in different races were developed by the Say race. It's billions of years ago. Consider them, they were very high scientists that could move craft between the astral and physical worlds, which people don't do now. Not normally. And so they seeded life that walked around on two legs, not just human, but reptilian and gray and tall white and all these other races you've heard about. Mantis and Pashat, which is like a lion being with powerful, 9 feet tall, strong, hairy, with like a lion head. These weren't things perverted on Earth by the misuse of science. They got it all wrong on Earth. These were beings who were developed that the Atma could run an experience, that you could put higher faculties through the nervous system and experience matter on those worlds and life and ships and bring it back across the void. That's what all this is for. In space, in the hue, Tyrellian's standing there showing him an 18-foot tall body because it's what he once had a long time ago. He doesn't carry around a physical body anymore, nor does he need to. But he can manifest one out of the hue that'll fill the DNA pattern in one of the teardrops he's got stored in and manifest it on the spot. And yes, the creative imagination or daydreaming or his ability to see this is the key to doing it. No negative fear or negative nature can be involved to make that work. There can't be any subconscious mind. So that's the first thing you need to know out here. The sound out here is like rumbling thunder under your feet and all around you, but it's not frightening. No. And it's a white golden light. You can see the Earth and its polar ice caps, blue oceans and brown land masses and different colors. and a barren moon with meteor craters all over it circles the Earth, but it does not turn on its axis, and that is not natural at all. So that has to be corrected. And the sun, you can see all the billions of stars, and they all have planets around them that make up just our one little galaxy. Most of those stars out there are blue-white giants, yellow suns of varying sizes, most of them larger than ours, and red dwarfs or red giants. And you have to get into astronomy and astrophysics to understand what they are. But most of those stars out there are binary or trinary, and they know this on the higher scientific circles on Earth today. It means the planets they're discovering through advanced telescopes, and electronic equipment, satellites, are binary or trinary. It means that planets revolve around a system that has a big sun and a smaller sun circling it, and the planets revolve around both. A trinary system has a big sun, a big yellow sun, probably larger than ours by quite a bit, and a red dwarf or even a red giant, which is expanded. It's nearing the end of its life. It could still be hundreds of thousands or millions of years away. So those three suns are trinary. And the effect on genetics like human on planets that have binary or trinary sun systems is that those planets that are in that equitable region where life can occur do not have polar ice caps. It changes things. So many of the races that are coming to Earth now and have been for many years, in fact, since the beginning life was brought here, that goes back 65 million years to when the dinosaurs were deliberately made extinct. And then beings were brought here. There isn't a race living on Earth today that ever originated on Earth, never evolved from the seas, became fish and walked upright and all that stuff. That kind of thing took place in other worlds long ago. Humans are very old. They were brought here under one scenario and another, going back 65 million years. This was your history. And your greater history is the history you had out in the multiverse, not even on Earth, and other worlds and other dimensions that you're living in right now. Isn't it ironic that you're running at least 5 physical type forms of higher matter on 5 levels as a single being, and you don't even know it? See? It's not lost. It's not gone. It's not destroyed by some tyrants. Nothing can destroy anything within the Atma itself. It's not made of matter. But energy things can be put out in that field of energy that surrounds it and affects you in terrifying ways. Because it's how you perceive and look into the universe, looking through distorted images or looking through something made to make your nervous system on Earth feel afraid. Those are implants. The larger issue goes beyond implants. It goes back into forgetting your life in the multiverse before that ever was done to you. This too needs to be recovered. Trillion's 18 feet tall. We're not. He's a giant out there compared to us that circle around him. He's just showing us with his hands up, with the golden light around his thumbs. He's brought some energy here from Satnam, from the Atma plane above the void, to make it even a higher energy of the hue in the hue that surrounds us, like an oval field of light. And he maintains it as a central focus point for us. We don't need the protection of it, but it does provide a greater protection in that nothing of a negative nature can even approach us. In fact, nothing of a negative nature can even see us because we're not visible to them. So no, I don't worry about the men in black or classified people or anybody coming to my door and knocking and say, "Stop that, Mr. Lemriel, you're telling too much truth." They never, ever do that. And they won't. Because what we're doing here is for their benefit as well. I hope you understand this. It's for the benefit of current distorted leaders on this planet who are making decisions based on fear on earth. And those are always destructive. Can't be anything else. It's a negative emotion. It's artificially created. It's implanted in them. They don't know it's there, and they're making the wrong decisions every day. The outcome of that is obvious. The end of life on earth. No other outcome could come from what's being done now. Unless beings that are our greater brothers and sisters, the greater life out in the universe, decide to intervene, to step in and stop this nonsense, and get people to cooperate with them in a process that is done without rioting and destruction. It's just that simple. People on earth can't even think this way yet. Too much fear influencing how they imagine things. When you look above Turellian, you see this beautiful Atma hovering there. That Atma's, I don't want to say more ancient than us, but certainly more awake and aware over a vastly greater period of time than you are, or I am, or Perry. He demonstrates, because he's connected to us telepathically out in a pure hue field, he's simply demonstrating our potential to us. See? It's telepathically. It's running through us, right through us and into the hue that surrounds us. The other beings here are doing the same thing. Etta and Din are doing that. The Atmas are hovering above their Dren bodies. Ramu is doing that. Mastro Pelham's doing that. Shantiel and Tonaltiel are doing that. There's a ship out there. There's actually 4. I don't have time to describe them all the time. There's one in 4 places around Turellian outside of us. And the one off to the, past the moon to the left, let's call it, is a ship about 30 feet across, as are the other 3. There are 4 couples in each one that man these craft. They're very highly trained. They don't have subconscious minds. They don't have implants. They didn't grow up on Earth. They have beautiful Atmas hovering above them, and there's a couple sitting with their heads to their chest, asleep in the back of the ship. You can see right through it because it's a blue-gray metal with an anti-gravitic light around it and 3 semispheric pods on the bottom, like those you would see on the front of the Series Agenda book. But you can see 3 couples standing up behind a semicircular control console, touching different faceted crystals that are luminous controls. And then you realize that the couple standing beside you, Shantiel and Tonaltiel, are the couple that have their bodies asleep on that ship. Yeah, they have the technology far beyond people on Earth. They don't have disease. They don't have cancer. The telomeres on their DNA of the physical bodies they run do not shrink when the cells divide like they do with bodies on Earth because they've been messed with, altered. So, Shantiel and Tonaltiel are going with us, but not for secondary implant removal purposes. They're going to the HU Expansion Ray Academy. And so are many other beings. There's over 1,000 master teachers, men and women, in a huge sphere of beings around us. They go there and take shifts and go up there and they demonstrate our potential in different kinds of classrooms, different kinds of training facilities, all over that huge floating landmass up there. Remember, that place is beyond the void. Oh yes, there are many higher levels beyond the void that are not taught to people on Earth yet. That's like, the only way you get to be aware of that is if you let go of fear of some way. Now the sound changes from rumbling thunder. It starts to become the high, beautiful note of a flute. Sounds like a flute, but it's much purer than that. And it's pulling us upward. Now this is coming from the omnipresent hue that exists up beyond where Satnam is. And you look up into space, you can see him standing there with his arms folded, 2 golden bracelets on his arms, bare-chested, bronze skin, golden eyes, bald. Kind of looks like a guy from India, as I say it, but he's not from India, of course. one of many forms he can show people. But he's really this beautiful, huge Atma hovering above that form. We depict that in a way in the front cover of the Emerald Doorway book. Although that's more representative of the source itself. But Satnam looks like that. So does Turelian. There are beings called silent mentors, and we'll meet a few on this journey, who run the mechanics of creation. Until recently, they were known of in history, but the beings in the Galactic Alliance really had no association with them whatsoever. They don't interact with individual Atmas to train them like a master teacher. Their concerns are not about our well-being or harm or anything like that. They're too busy just keeping everything running. Galaxies spinning, planets, moons, suns, stars, interdimensional doorways between dimensions are guarded by them. They run these things. Something you knew long time ago. The only place they interact with people like us is when we go up above Satnam's realm into the HU Expansion Ray Academy, a special place created in a special parallel dimension between the fifth plane of Satnam and the sixth Purusha, or the sixth manager of that plane. There are many. All the way up to Agam Purusha, who runs the raw power of creation, and then into a void, into this ocean of sound and light. And it's not a void either. So we're out in space here around Turelian, and all this linking up is going on. And I'm going to putting out the HU now, simply to create a corridor between all the way down to your body on Earth, which is in the trance state, all the way up in space, through Turelian, and he's doing it too, up through Satnam, up through the dimensions in the lower planes, through the void, to Satnam's realm, to hovering above the HU Expansion Ray Academy. HU. And that one produces a corridor, a vortex spinning clockwise through the void. And then right to Satnam's garden by the fountain. Snow-covered mountain range in the background. And that stops or opens above 6 snow-covered mountain peaks in a circle. There are silent mentor worlds, 4 of them actually, way out near the edge of the spiral arms of the galaxy, the Milky Way I'm referring to, on huge planets. They don't have to have oxygen or not. They could be gas giants. You wouldn't know, because the silent mentors don't need the encumbrance of a body. They're pure energy. So, which you are too, by the way. But we don't go to those worlds unless we're invited. Galactic Alliance, the great spacefaring races, don't go to them. Wouldn't even see anything if they went there. Not unless they're invited for a reason. But where we can meet with them is up in the HU Expansion Ray Academy, where they are there deliberately to co-create new ways of interacting with us for the first time, and with master teachers for the first time. Things are changing in creation. And if they don't change up there, they will not change down here ever. Because the lower worlds of time and space are fixed and finished. That's how we did it. That means we're responsible for it as well. Bitching about the way it is will not change anything. Doing something about it will change it. That takes a massively huge collective effort of beings that comprise and make up the source or prime creator. See? We're responsible. Why? Because we're meant to be co-creators to make the next big change in creation. You're going to see Eta and Din start to glow their tails and circle upward for fun. They're flying in this vortex. It's a white golden light. It's got a blue-green water-like luminosity around it, and they're moving up into it. And then Turelian just starts going upward, and we're moving up with him. The first thing we're going to do, just up inside the opening throat of this vortex, is head off into space. The vortex is still there, but we've stepped off it in the third higher parallel dimension, so still see the Milky Way galaxy zooming below us and worlds and stars, but we're going to planet Oceania. It's on the other side of the Milky Way galaxy, 2/3 of the way out one of its spiral arms, on a world in the third position around its trinary sun system, 4 times bigger than Earth, no polar ice caps. Kind of a violet blue. It's hard to describe the atmosphere because it doesn't look like Earth. It's water covered. There are 3 planets the size of Earth with no polar ice caps circling at different distances with life on them. And in the distance you can see this big blue-white young giant star and a big yellow sun, half its size, circling it, and further out a little red dwarf. And Turelian and all of us have stopped right outside the atmosphere in space to look down on this planet. Master Opelum is now moving down towards the planet because that's where he comes from. He's showing you a body form that looks perfect, but it happens to look exactly like the body he actually has on the planet. It has not aged. It's over 500,000 years old. He's a master teacher. This was revealed all the way back 100,000 years ago in the Emerald Doorway book. So we're following him. We're his guests. We've been invited. You do not show up on Oceania uninvited. I don't care what anybody says on Earth. You can't actually do it unless you go with a guide or get permission from, I would consider him the leader of that planet, yeah. Also the sponsor in the beginning of the entire Galactic Interdimensional Alliance of Free Worlds, with the inspiration of Turelian behind that, 500,000 years ago. These aren't people you play with idly or attempt to use for selfish reasons. That just won't play out and won't work. So, we're going down to the surface of this planet. Next thing you know, you're wiggling your toes in golden, kind of like, looks like gold sand, but it's golden and it's luminous. The ocean water is this blue-green jewel that is just luminous a foot above it because this planet's water is heavily charged with the HU. Earth should be like this, but it isn't. Normal planets, water, H2O, charge can channel a great volume of the HU and it makes it glow a foot above it. This doesn't happen on Earth, except it's a little bit more of a charge around the equator. People get attracted to Hawaii. They want to go there and get in the water. They don't realize why it feels like it does. So Earth needs to be fixed in that way as well. The moon of Earth has to be fixed as well for it to be normal. So here in Oceania, you're looking down at your toes wiggling in this sand. It's a big, wide, long beach, and beautiful jungle trees that are much taller than those on Earth. And there's a big dome inland you can see sticking up above the trees, covering 3 4-sided, golden-sided quartz cap pyramids in the back third of this, and you can see. You look into the ocean, Turellian's, for fun, he's 18 feet tall, he's standing up in this luminous water up to his knees, still got his 2 thumbs up. He doesn't miss a beat. He's just got him giving everybody a quirky smile. These master teachers that are going to the HU Exp Ray Academy, you can see them several miles all the way down the beach. And at one time, we all reach down. I'm there too, Perry's there, and you pick up this golden glowing sand. And it moves into your human-looking hand, which is a projection. It's a pure energy form of you that you show everybody, about 36-ish. Goes up through your smiling face, goes into the white core of your being, and out into those teardrop layers, and it continues on past that, moving through the omnipresent you. But it's passing through you first from this world to give you an understanding of what a normal world is like, because you don't get that on Earth. Yeah, beautiful waterfalls and mountains and oceans, but they're not charged properly. See? Too much, it's all negative in the atmosphere. Everything that was done to everybody is still there. It's not allowed to go out of Earth's atmosphere and pollute the rest of the universe. This is something people on Earth do not yet know. But here on Oceania, you're experiencing energy move through you, the physical appearing form, through the Atma, so that you will never forget this. It's not the first time you've been here. The last time you were here was a long time ago. And then you see Opelum appear on the beach. Everybody kind of stands out in the water up to their knees, way in front of Turellian because he's so much taller. And then Opelum simply raises his right hand. Long black hair to his shoulders, the emerald green eyes, the pale blue beautiful skin like Krishna, but not so turquoisey. More like a moonstone. Beautiful. Very human, but not Earth type human. You see the little webs between his fingers. These little gill slits under his neck, you can't hardly see them. You wouldn't see them unless he lifted his neck. They're not like a fish's gills. No. And so they can breathe underwater at depth or on land, which makes them one of the most unique human type beings. Yet the genetics of those bodies are so close to humans on Earth, you could actually mate with them. Not that they would want to, of course, but the body he's showing you is his real physical body. Now watch, you're going to see the Opelum, who you saw in space, look just like him, walk out of the jungle and move into this physical body. They're the same thing. So this is a demonstration of your potential by Opelum on a world that has no negative nature as you understand it. No, none. Etta and Din are circling around him now, and they stop to look at you. About 3 feet long from the tip of their cute noses to the root of their tail, standing on their legs 4 feet in the air with their tail extended behind them. Din, his wife, looks obviously more feminine. These are master teachers. The Atma's hovering above them, just like it is above Opelum. They live down the bottom of the Oceanian Ocean in chambers that have been emptied out from volcanic eruptions hundreds of millions of years ago that are self-contained ecosystems, all laid out in and revealed in the Emerald Doorway book. Illustrations as well. There's not a publisher on planet Earth that would have published that book with all those highly detailed illustrations. So I had to be a publisher as well to do that, to get it on Earth. Because normally would they consider it to be too expensive and would only do something like that for their most successful authors. And yet they've not even done something like that for their most successful authors either. So be aware of these things. It's respectful. And it's necessary for you to go further. So when Opelum walks up to you, so you're standing in that beach, and he has his hand up, there's a beautiful golden white light flowing through him. And that's from Turelian on the beach, out in the water, and it's from Turelian up in space, both places. And it's from Satnam up above planet Oceania. And I'm up there too. It's simply coming through you to help you remember things you've been either afraid to remember or don't want to remember, guilt or some other silly thing. Because karma and reincarnation come to an end, not by paying off bad karma. That's a teaching taught by tyrants. It comes to an end when you stop giving it attention and energy, when you understand that that drops away, when you begin to assume your purpose, being a co-creator with Source. That's your destiny. This is the kind of thing that goes beyond secondary implant removals, considerably beyond that, even vastly. But they need to be gone first. So I'm starting to go into a new direction and revealing certain things to people on these journeys. Perry knows that now. Because it's possible to do it. Whereas before, for people who want to go on these journeys and not pay for it, I don't mean by money, I mean by not putting in any effort and just want a free ride and just have it done to them, it can't be done that way. You have to be co-creatively involved in your own freedom, your own awakening, your own recovery. It's required by Source. And who makes up the Source? We do. Interesting, isn't it? And we're out in space, moving back upward in that vortex through the astral plane, billions of galaxies on different levels, 144, passing below us. You can see it outside the vortex, the causal, the mental, and the etheric. And we stop for a moment at the etheric plane. There's 80,000 continents on this huge planet. And there's these crystal palaces and bodies that are transparent, almost pure energy. And you're standing in the front of a palace, two big pillars, just standing there, looking at Turelian and myself and Perry and other people, and yourself. And then you realize the Atma's hovering above that form you have there. It doesn't look like the form you have here. The hair is luminous, your body's transparent. But the same Atma is hovering above it. And it's hovering above the form you're showing us, or in a circle around Turelian. Up in the atmosphere of this planet, one of many, of course, in the etheric realm, which is vastly larger than the physical universes. And then we move upward in this vortex, and we find ourselves in this pale blue luminous void everywhere. It's much brighter than anything below, but it's still pale blue from where we're going. You look behind you and you see this etheric world vanish. And we're moving at tremendous speed. The speed of light, what a joke. We're way millions of times beyond that. And there's nothing here. It doesn't appear like there's anything here. So people who have come this far on Earth think it's a void, the realm of God, the Supreme Being. It's not. It's a barrier between the lower worlds of time and space made of matter, energy, space, and time, good and bad, right and wrong, all that karma and reincarnation stuff. people being trapped in bodies and forgetting. It's a barrier between that. It's made of the pure hue and the upper realities, which are pure hue. They have no worlds, no moons, no suns, no stars there, no galaxies. They're unnecessary because lands and things that are there are supported and created and supported by beings. And everything and everyone is self-luminous. There's no need for suns. Time and space don't work here. There isn't any of either. So you're in this void, and way in the distance you begin to see this tiny, brilliant flash of light. A cobalt blue, beautiful blue star. It seems like we're rushing toward it. It's getting bigger, and then it becomes this luminous white beach as we approach it. And it's extending as far as you can see in every direction in this blue void. And then it starts to curve all the way out in the distance, as if we're approaching some circular realm. Everything in creation has this circular characteristic for it to be able to hover in another energy, the pure hue, even the Satnam realm, even the Atma realm. The Hue Expansion Ray Academy, further up from Satnam's realm, between the 5th and 6th realm, the sounds are much higher here, the light much brighter, the hue much greater, the consciousness more, how do I put it, sharp, vivid. So we're approaching this beach, and Satnam is standing in the sand. You thought he was right here behind us, hovering above these beings, and he is, but he's also standing with a physical appearing form on that beach. And he has his right hand up too. It's a greeting. There's a huge Atma hovering above this form he's showing us. More teardrops in it, twice as many as, say, we would have. But otherwise it looks same. It's a type of Atma, but much more advanced. And silent mentors will be meeting in a little bit. So we land on this beach. You suddenly are there looking down with your toes wiggling in the sand. It's like white diamonds, this brilliant white light. And all these master teachers that came with us, Netta and Din, and Ramu and Pelham and all these people, the Galactic Alliance and Shantil and Tonaltil, they're all here. Don Tim and Lam Tim are here too. They're one of many that will be working with millions, even billions of people on Earth at some point, because they're motivated to do so. Even if people on Earth are too stupid and too fear-driven to accept or understand this, it is their destiny. Fortunately, or we'd all, everybody on Earth, they would have already lost all their bodies. All life would be gone on that planet. So this intervening in the affairs of Earth for the first time has already begun. This journey we're doing right now is proof of that. You can't make this stuff up in your little pea brain on Earth. Growing up in schools that they have on Earth and in universities, they don't teach any of this. None of it. Nothing. So the brain on Earth that this body has in it never learned that on Earth. You get that? Could not have. Wasn't there to learn it. So where did it come from? Well, you're in the middle of where that came from right now. And this is natural and normal, actually, for you. And it'll become so again. If you pick up this sand, it goes into your palm, goes up your smiling face, right into the white core of your being, brightens it, and continues through it, out into that blue void below here, on its way back down, all the way even to Earth, to where your body is now, through the Atma hovering above it. Still there. And Satnam lifts off the sand and goes over the top of the jungle. It's made of crystalline things, and it's live and luminous and transparent. It's beautiful. These birds with the long V-shaped split tails, rainbow-colored bodies, and big eyes, and look like a blue jay about a foot long, are singing with beautiful male and female voices, the hue on many levels, just enjoying themselves, flying in front of us, escorting us over the trees, and then they disappear into the distance. Remember, they had Atmas hovering above each one of those bird forms. Those bird forms have vocal cords. They're telepathic. These are higher forms that the Atma can work through easily. When you come to stop around, this fountain's about 15 feet wide, scalloped white stone edges, round pillar, has a flat marble or white stone seat around the outside of it, 12 scrolled legs supporting it, a statue of Satnam in it. It's a device, a tool, and he's hovering in the air beside it. He points to it. There's 2 gold bracelets on the arms, like the body form he's showing you, none of which are physical. Bare-chested, strong, little white tunic dress from his waist to his bare ankles. Golden eyes, luminous. In fact, his entire body is luminous. So is yours. Bronze skin, wrinkle-free, about 36-ish, but he looks ancient, ageless. And above him, this beautiful Atma, much larger, more layers to it than you have, showing you his true nature. And you look around at this form that you have you're showing people, because it has eyes to see, to get perceptics. And you look up and see the Atma you are looks just like him, at least the layers you have. Terrellian is now, remember, he's this big being, but it doesn't make any difference here. He looks like he's maybe 8 or 9 feet tall. He's walking up this crystalline staircase that's appeared. It circles the fountain and goes up to a white glass-like platform. And he's stepping into a beam of white golden light. It's coming down into the statue of Satnam. So we're going to follow him. Just myself, Perry, Ramu, Pelametta, and Din just fly up this thing, go right into this light. And then you find yourself, in comparison, in this field of light, like the size of a small coin to the size of a dinner plate. And we're in the middle of this energy. And it's pouring down through us and going back up the other way. It's constant motion. The sound of the hue here is like millions of men and women's voices singing on multiple levels the hue, dancing in the delight of who they are. And then you come out and you're looking down, and you look down and see 6 snow-covered mountain peaks surrounding a white island, and there's a blue-green lake luminous around it. You look out far into the distance and you see this much brighter white beach surrounding this massive circular landmass. A blue glass administration tower to the western mountain. 100-foot wide marble floor, looks like white stone. It's a transparent glass like with a flat and oval center, and then 2/3 of the way up goes up to a minaret point. There's a white shaft of golden light coming down into this, filling a fountain inside that administration dome, pouring over the edge of the scalloped nature of the outer edge of the stone, dropping down through the luminous floor, down the shaft of the tower, and also goes out into the HU Expansion Ray Academy. It comes from realms far above here. Then suddenly you're up above this entire HU Expansion Ray Academy, looking down on it so it looks like a disc. And everything else is this cobalt blue light surrounding it. Everything here is self-luminous. And then we come down, approach coming down to this, looking at it, and you see this 4 quadrants, like cutting a pizza pie down the middle and across, and out 2/3 of the way out a roadway to each one towards the beach is a clearing. There's a clearing, there's 4 of them. But from up here you can also see there are islands round, 12 of them surrounding the outside of the HU Expansion Ray Academy in this vast blue energy field. Those are individual teaching facilities of silent mentors. We're not going there yet. We have to be invited. We're going to the one out to the northwestern area of the HU Expansion Ray Academy in a clearing. And you suddenly find yourself around a huge sphere. There's a blue star radiating in the center of it, like a device, but not mechanical. And there's a white shaft of golden light coming down into it, and a white marble floor. And then there are 12 trees around the outer circumference. And they look like giant weeping willow trees with broad spoon-shaped blue luminous leaves. Standing above each one is a human-looking being, alternating male and female, different colored robes, single piece. And you look at the long hair to their shoulders, and then you look at their face, and you can't see any facial features. It's a bright, brilliant light. When you concentrate and look into the light, you see all these levels of galaxies on different planes, because that's how they view the multiverse. The real silent mentors, other than the form they're showing you can relate to, is this big Atma hovering above each one. 4 times bigger than you or me. Even bigger than Satnam, and he's big. And they have all these layers of teardrop-shaped faculties within them in a white cord, just like you. But these are the mechanics of the universe. And so we are here with master teachers, Ramun, Opelum, all these guys are here, Etendin, respectfully. And all they're doing is sharing a telepathic communication with us. Atma to Atma, mind you, sphere to sphere, just to demonstrate our potential. It isn't to become one of them. There's plenty of them. It's to become something new. A cross between a master teacher that kind of cares about guiding individuals and all that, and the beings that are dispassionate in that way, that have no interest or time to deal with that. It's like evolving to become something in between. Interesting, huh? And in the next instant, you find yourself hovering above your body back on Earth, all the way back down there. The white golden light is coming through you, the Atma, near the ceiling. Shantiel and Tonatiel are still there. Down through your physical body, and around the Atma is this huge electromagnetic field, looks like the one around the Earth. And the same thing is around your body. People call it the aura. I think it's a few colors out near the outside layer of physical body. That's not it. It's much bigger than that, and it's round. There's no secondary implants in either in you. And it moves through you for your benefit. And you are a co-creator with it. And it goes out through the planet to 3 pyramids. It goes to bigger pyramids. It goes to the center of the galaxy, and right up the white golden shaft, and all the way back up, farther than we went tonight, or in the morning in your case, all the way to the ocean of sound and light, and further to the realm of the silent mentors, and further still to the realm of the HU Expansion Ray itself. So this is what you're bringing back to your life on Earth. This cannot be stored in your human brain. The brain is not designed to handle multidimensional understanding. You hovering above that body can and does. It's stored in the electromagnetic field. It's also stored in one of the teardrops out in the yellow layer just outside the white layer. And a green, this becomes a green energy in a layer that's green because that's helps you remember your lives in the lower worlds of time and space. And then it moves through you. Yes, for your benefit, but on its way elsewhere for the benefit of others. This is all you need to do. It's always through you for your benefit and on its way elsewhere for the benefit of others. This is our nature. When you recover this awareness, your motivation changes on earth. You still deal with money, you still deal with what you have to until the world changes, in which case you won't need to deal with any of that. But for now, you'll be able to deal with it in a more enlightened manner. You become a caretaker, a custodian of things, not a possessor of them. Because that's how people get trapped in that whole attachment thing, which is unnecessary. When you're ready, open your eyes. That's why you need to play it back a second time. Okay, a couple of days, cup of tea, turn off your phone. You're going to find a whole lot went on here. It was way over an hour, about, 14 minutes or so, but necessary. Because what happened in that had nothing to do with time. When you see and go back through it, you realize a lot happened that cannot be done in an hour. Isn't that interesting? That's kind of how this works because you're an Atma. So I'll bring this recording to a close.
Hold on, please. Sophie, I'd like to ask you, if we open the group journey in English, you want to join us? So we open to everyone who want to join us in English group journey, guided group journey. Okay?
We want to do that to bring that to the rest of the world too, not just Thai people.
Yes, correct.
Although I think it's very special that Thai people were the first people to actually have the courage to do this. It's really interesting to me. That's why we're doing a Thai book. Very complicated. Not an easy task, but we're doing it first. Okay, I will bring this to... Did she want this public or does she want this to keep it private? Yeah, because journeys are for the public to benefit other people as well. Okay.